evening, everyone. Welcome to our fireside chat for the Ironkeep Chronicles. So glad to have you all here with us tonight. This is a little review, reflection, dissection. What other shun words can we work in here? Attention.
Yeah. Passion.
Passion. Oh, it's a night of passion here on Saving Throw Show.
You said pretension?
Pretension and pretension.
Intention.
Oh, let's see. How do
Contention.
I combine?
A lot of contention.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, contention. That's right. We're gonna arm wrestle to see who's gonna DM
this is
next.
like one of those.
Well, I'm out first.
This is one of those like after the Bachelor things where we all meet up and then we get into a fist fight and stuff like that. And
I now take karate, so I don't recommend it.
okay.
well,
I'm
all
a
right.
rip Kyle's weave out.
How dare you? I just had it put in.
Never watched a single episode of The Bachelor. I feel like I'm at a competitive disadvantage. Welcome, everybody. We don't have a ladder of joy to unlock tonight. If you feel like donating, that's fine. If you don't feel like donating, hey, we appreciate the other times that you have somehow contributed to our fine show. You can tweet about the show or share it on social media, your platform of choice. Post on Tumblr, but just don't post anything inappropriate about us.
Well,
Or
then
really
what else do you put on
anything.
Tumblr?
Yeah.
Well, now nothing. We're going to keep it loose and casual. If you have questions tonight, hey, you know what would be great is if you would have put them into our Google form that we had queued up earlier in the day.
Let's
Yeah,
shame them now.
But Dom is over there furiously copying and pasting anything that you might have a question about. And we'll catch up with that later. But hey, let's welcome our cast from the entire scope of the 2-year odyssey, which was the Ironkeep Chronicles. Mr. Kyle Capps has joined us.
Hey, everybody.
Yes.
I showed it up.
I showed it.
What did you think when you were like, hey, do you want to come play in the Ironkeep Chronicles?
Honestly, I was just very excited to be back in a game with you.
So I don't think people know this, but Kyle and I played at the same table. Did I DM? I don't think...
You never...
I wasn't the DM when you were there.
I DM'd for Curse of Strahd.
This is Adventures League. We were in the same game or same table for D&D's Adventures League a couple of years in a row.
And
or a couple of campaigns in a row.
We did some other gaming outside it as well, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Tom's gonna be DMing, because I know that you were gonna do like the next one for Storm King's Thunder, and then you kind of stepped up and you took over for like another table at AL to kind of to help out with like the influx of people kind of coming in for 5e,
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna finally get to be at a table for Tom DMing, and then you're like, okay, well, bye everybody.
Okay, we'll see you
later.
Yeah. Well, that group was like, it was tough too because they were trying to make room for all the new people at the store, and that group had been there for like 2 years, and so they ended up moving those people to Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And that wasn't going to work. So yeah, very good, very good. Megan Caves is here.
Hi! Woo! I've returned.
Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. What did you miss about the Ironkeep Chronicles? You had your arc in the mysterious investigation campaign, and then now that you're back for tonight, like, what do you feel like you missed in intervening time?
And like how much did being on Ironkeep ruin all other games?
All of
for
the
you?
gaming for you, yes.
Well, I definitely missed being able to shit on Eric.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, that was-
I didn't really.
She texts me almost every day, just like "fuck you, dude."
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
true. But
I didn't
fun
know
fact.
I needed it in my life until I had it, and then like now that it's been a few weeks without it, and
I just want everyone at home to know you can all shit on me. I'm here for you.
I agree that shitting on Eric is one of the treasured joys of showing up every week.
Wow.
I mean, like, Eric got me a book of jokes to use as Ava, and then he got to hear those jokes when I read them to everyone. So that was good.
That was an amazing bit.
Self-punishment.
Oh my god. Yes. Hey everybody, it's everybody's favorite footstool, Eric Reichert.
Wow.
Hey!
Wow.
One of the OG members of the Ironkeep. Which character do you like better, Grayson or
Were you all four?
the other
seasons?
one.
Yeah, I've been in since
those two.
the beginning.
Hot damn.
I mean, I like Alton better because I made choices with Alton, whereas I didn't make choices with Grayson for the first 6 months of the show.
#1 Snake Pass Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
Thank you, BSB.
I don't know. I felt like you tried to make a dedicated effort to like play him as like a goody two shoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into. Well, also like there was a revelation. In that character.
That was like I think it took a couple of months before I really started to enjoy playing as Grayson.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about that before, and we'll probably talk about it tonight. But yeah, I think it wasn't until like I switched his path up, and then you and I talked about making him a doppelganger that I really started enjoying him as a character.
Right. All of which was instigated by Havana Mahoney and your one shot that you ran.
Yeah, you're such a copycat.
Take your inspiration where you may find it. That is my advice to everyone.
That's interesting. I kind of didn't even remember the timeline of that. I thought maybe I stole it from you accidentally.
No.
Havana equals instigator. No, you're not wrong.
Do you want to pick between your two characters who you like better?
Oh man, they're like polar opposites.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I really appreciated them both for different reasons. Avril was kind of a shit, but playing a shit is fun sometimes. and Strum was like the least shit. She was so pure. So
I don't know.
which was fun.
I was told towards the end that she had a dark side.
She did have a dark side, but she didn't like use it against. Well, it was her inner turmoil. She didn't lash out at people because of it.
Yeah,
Right.
she just wore her hair like straight down. It
just
had
was
chokers. and-
Emo. I live with the fairies. For years. None of my friends call. I don't care.
Very good. So, hey everyone, I'm Tom Lommel. I was going to say I'm your host and your dungeon master, but only one of those things is true at this point. I was your dungeon master for the Ironkeep Chronicles. We have about a dozen or so, a little more than a dozen questions here queued up. We're going to have some freeform Q&A after that. So, with that in mind, hey, let's open the floor. So, Modern Chow asks the group, what are some creatures or enemies that you would have liked to have faced?
Ooh, we fought so many good ones.
That pus mother, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
I did not like that.
That was
Which pus monster? Remind me.
Oh yeah, there were several. I don't think we ever fought a mimic, which I was surprised by. I don't think we ever encountered a mimic.
And we were
That
playing
is
some
kind of
pretty
a
classic
classic-
adventures.
It's true, yeah. So we started with Sunless Citadel. Then we played the
Barrier. Was that Barrier?
no, it was White Plume Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Then we played the Mysterious Investigation. Then we played Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
Wow, I missed a lot.
And then finally we played. Then we played When a Star Falls. And then finally we played the Rod of Seven Parts campaign. So, that's a lot of adventures,
That's
right?
a lot.
Right.
And not a single mimic.
Not a single mimic.
The hell, Tom.
That's true.
Wow. I've
That's
never
true.
faced a mimic.
Yeah,
I know all about them.
They're sticky.
I think you did fight a Froggemoth, right? In Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, there was a Froggemoth.
Yeah, there was that rabbit on a stump.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
That was the episode where
God.
Eric got pushed into the...
I was hoping we could go this whole
It was a prank.
talk back without mentioning this.
Oh, it was so great.
It was just a prank. That's all it was.
My character almost died, and the only reason why he didn't was because Tom felt bad and pulled back. He started pulling his punches.
Is that true?
I don't think so. I think
We got you out.
Yeah, no, I think like you. Not. I mean, I will cop to
'Cause,
have
like,
done doing that a couple of times, but
He I remember I was trapped in there, slowly being dissolved in the monster, and then I think Gaurav did a paralyzing shot, and he failed to save, and he's like, does that open his mouth? And you're like, yeah, it does.
if I recall correctly, there was some sort of nat 20 involved in there too. I'm not sure. Yes.
I was like very excited at the reveal of Xanathar. Like even if it was like
the 3 different monsters,
yeah, like the weird.
Well, what's great too is before you were at the table with. Was it before Kyle was here? We met like Xanathar as he was as our previous character.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool to like have that in contrast when how we met him.
Yeah,
in the Primordium.
Yeah, because when we landed at that spot, I was like, maybe I'm crazy, but the map kind of looks like Waterdeep, but that's not what this is. And then by the time the third piece of Xanathar, I was like, oh god damn it, we're fighting Xanathar.
Going fish.
I mean, the flip side of that was like I thought it was interesting and fun to have like Xanathar get involved in what in the party's doings. You know, I don't know. I think that's these are all fun monsters that we have fought. What didn't a mimic? What would you have? Is there an iconic D&D monster that you're like, I've never? Why can't I?
I've got to be honest. I don't. I feel like a lot of people know all the D&D monsters. I really don't.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't think about like a particular monster I'd want to fight as much as like an interesting character. And I feel like
Right,
you said, the rabbit, Xanathar was. So many of them were interesting characters. I think I
Yeah.
cared more about that. So
Yeah.
I did enjoy fighting that goat. I think that we.
Yeah.
The one that exploded in
exploding
bees?
goat?
Exploding goat. Yeah.
I forgot about that. That was fucked up.
I'm just gonna throw my dagger so it pops the blister.
Oh, the
And
whole goat is the
full of
blister. It's full of bees.
Are you now afraid, like, if you have a blister, if you pop it, bees will come
I've
out?
always been afraid of
We
it.
hit so many monsters though. Like I'm trying to think, because like
Yeah, Displacer Beast, we covered that.
Oh,
We covered...
I mean, a big part of that is Expedition of the Barrier Peaks is like chock full of like classic D&D monsters.
I always think it's interesting to fight.
vampires.
That's what I was gonna say. Vampires. I don't.
But we
feel
had
like,
a like we
You guys fought a vampire?
ours at
At
the
the
end
very end,
was
yeah.
I wasn't there that night,
Which he would,
unfortunately.
and that was
Gingy.
yeah, there was
Gingy
Gingy and then
Oh.
Oryx.
and Negaoricus character and Gothius, which was from
Sunless Citadel.
season.
Our adventure, yeah.
I guess it's hard because we didn't really call them seasons at first, so it was like the second arc of the first season.
It was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. No, it was actually from Sunless Citadel, right? Like the tree that you fought.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
Gothius
remember.
tree.
That's the Gothius tree.
And then and Gothius was the vampire that gave
I love
Amy her
that tree.
powers.
I love
right,
that tree.
right.
I love that.
So-
That tree holds a special place in my heart because it in like a completely separate game, it was like the arch enemy of one of our of Burb.
Mhm.
And like it's just I love that stat block for that monster. It is so much fun.
Eric, do you feel like Alton got to duel something that would have proved kind of like once and for all that he was top boy? Like,
I think-
or is there a monster or character that?
I remember when we first started, I started to create a list of characters that he would fight, because it was like Creighton Sark was the second one, and then Garen Vance was the first one. I think we came up with Garen Vance before the show started, and then you forgot about Garen Vance, so you added Creighton Sark, and then
like Creighton Sark ended up like he was a guy on the ship, right?
Yeah.
So, or maybe he was. Maybe he was just somebody that was talked about on the ship.
yeah, it was something like that. Like
I think he was I think Creighton Stark,
Creighton
who
Sark
was the bandit, was originally mentioned by
yeah, he was supposed to.
the lady
Yeah,
of
he was supposed to like have a
Okay.
mercenary army that we were supposed to deal with, but
Yeah.
it turned out to be like security for the
yeah,
Ironkeep.
because that kind of whole information dump with the queen or whatnot was like she told us about like the necromancer and his growing armies, and I was like, sweet, we're gonna go try to get a necromancer. I'm like, what the frick is this necromancer at?
Yeah. There's a recurring theme there.
But I feel like we didn't explore like the whole I've got a list of people I'm gonna fight, but he fought every time it came down to it. He's like, I'll fight you, and every time I won so handedly, and I loved it.
Action surge
Yeah.
is ridiculous. That's what I have to say.
It's
about
very
that.
wonderful.
I was like, cool, we haven't fought in like 6 sessions. Yeah, I'm gonna throw everything at you.
All right. Next question from DJ Regular. asks, Tom, if you could run a non-D&D game for each Ironkeep cast, which game would you run for each cast? Oof. Oh,
That's
boy.
a good question.
Well, that's a good, interesting question. So we've had essentially sort of, boy, I don't know, 3-4 iterations of the cast, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
We've done Kids on Bikes at least 3 times, I think.
Tales from the Loop.
Tales from the Loop.
Right.
Kind of. A hack of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Was
yeah.
that the system?
Yeah. I've also run Tales from the Loop as separate like one shots for like marathons and stuff too.
Right. But I mean, if we're talking about the Ironkeep cast,
Yeah.
straight up.
Ironkeep cast. I mean, it's funny because like that session 0 that we did where we used, or any of the sessions where we used wildlings.
Yeah.
Like
I love that.
juiced
system.
so much like story and relationship and history that it was very like eye-opening for me, like how much influence, even just that very first session 0 where you paralyzed the entire town was paralyzed and you set the place on fire trying to rescue everyone.
That was I love that session so much because I don't know about everyone else, but like I didn't have a lot of ideas, and then like coming out of that, we all had relationships with each other. We all had really strong ideas of what our characters were afterwards. It was a really fun way to do it.
I always like our session 0s are fun.
I don't know that I can give one like per each cast, but I would like to run like either Blades in the Dark or Scum and Villainy. Like that system is pretty new and pretty juicy, and that seems really interesting to me. And I think actually like the table would enjoy Blades in the Dark because it's a heist type of of game. And that's not something that I feel like I pulled off very well in our D&D, arc of the campaign. So I think that would be something that I would like to play. I know I would not play any of the several post-apocalyptic or cyberpunk games that I've been itching to play. Because I don't think that would be a good fit for the table.
I love post-apocalyptic stuff, as long as it's just not sci-fi.
That's just what it is? It's not mixing?
I like zombie stuff.
Everybody
and
Luigi's
end of the
back.
world stuff.
Yeah.
Hi, Luigi.
Maybe for a one-shot, like, that would be fun. I'm trying to think what system I would use for that. I've run a system called Danger Patrol, which is also by John Harper. And
What was that? Like, this was like 3 years ago, back in the old studio, you ran that, you ran something, and I keep meaning to watch it, but it was like, I remember I was half asleep because I was sleeping in the corner while you were playing it, but it was like you and Sean. It was like when we were in that tiny closet, and it had like you were just. It was like very like Flash Gordon-y.
What corner were you sleeping in the old
There was like
studio?
that little chaise lounge.
Yeah.
Oh!
Downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, okay, yeah. No, I remember what you're talking about, though.
It was probably Danger Patrol. Is probably what it was. Yeah. But I called it at that point. I called it Beastmasters of Yagamore.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And that's my sort of like.
I remember like being enthralled, but also it was 2 a.m. and I needed to sleep.
Yeah, that's my cartoon hack of Danger Patrol. So it takes it from a Flash Gordon world more into a Thundar the Barbarian kind of
I
world.
do like Flash Gordon.
Yeah. So there we go. I don't know. Yeah, I think I would want to play something that's a much more kind of like story, relationship, consequence driven.
I've always enjoyed the Dungeon World system.
Yeah.
With whenever we played them with you.
Yeah, Dungeon World is great. I mean, if there weren't so many people playing Monster of the Week, I might be inclined to play Monster of the Week as well.
I think all the cast would be fun with Fiasco.
That's true.
Lindsay has made a Dread scenario, which is basically like Jurassic Park, where you're all, people visiting the park, and then the game starts when the power has gone out and the dinosaurs have run loose, and the scenario is you got to literally get to the chopper before the dinosaurs eat you.
I like that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
What's that called?
It's Dread. Have you played Dread? You've played
I haven't played Dread.
It
so
seems
fun.
super cool. I've not played it. But.
Yeah.
I think I almost ran Dread for the Mamma Mia game.
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
That was
That
the
doesn't
first
sound right.
tabletop game I ever played, or the RPG I ever played was Dread.
Was Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
So the great thing about Dread is you play it with a Jenga tower.
Okay, hold the fuck on. Okay, Flash is sci-fi technically, but it's so high fantasy influence that you can ignore the sci-fi-ness.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah, very-
so heavy so heavy
Yeah,
high fantasy.
Wraith is saying that pulp is not really sci-fi. I think I agree with that. It's like that pulp feel definitely is like a lot
Right.
different than.
If it was sci-fi, I wouldn't like it. That's how I know. That's how I know.
I know for sure, like, in terms of party games, I would love to play a new game that the Evil Hat is putting out called Channel A, where basically there's a hand of premise cards. So it might be like educational super robots, and that's the premise of the show. And then you have a hand of random title cards that are all sort of anime derived, and you have to take your four best cards, use them in the title of your series, and then pitch your series to the table. So you're basically creating like an anime series, and you're trying to like fit it to whatever
Yeah,
the
you were
genre.
telling me about this the other day. Yeah.
And the thing is, even if you don't know anything about anime, it is like just like super goofy. It has that lightweight kind of like Cards Against Humanity kind of thing without having to say racist or horrible like stuff
Have you seen
about
problematic
Rush
things?
It's
Limbaugh's.
a super tangent, but there's a guy who has a Kickstarter out now called like Humorous Card Game, and it's literally like it's one white card that says like I can't think of anything because, and then like a bunch of black cards that all say I'm not funny enough.
I saw that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very funny.
I know people love cards, but I find it hugely
I
like
don't
problematic. And I find the thing is like with Channel A, there's a ton of replayability, even if you get the same cards. And I find with Cards Against Humanity, like once you've seen Rush Limbaugh's butthole twice, actually one
Why
time.
have you seen his butthole that many times?
That's a card that's literally like,
Right.
Well, and also,
Me and Rush go way back.
There was
This-
another time.
Way back in the back.
I went to college.
but yeah, so I think that would be like a super fun game to play.
college.
There's a bunch of board games that I have and things like that I'd like to play, but I think that would be a super fun game that would run on
thanks,
stream that
Gotcha.
people would enjoy.
I think it doesn't get as featured as often as it did with Monday Night Dungeon Fight, but how fucking crazy Tom can get with the accessories. Like there was the time in Ironkeep where we were, I forget the premise, but we were like in a maze of some kind, and he brought out this old like German board game, and we literally were like our characters playing this board game, trying to like get pieces together, and that was just that was this dungeon for this session.
That was fun.
And like just the weird shit he comes up with to like infuse into D&D, or like the first thing that came to my mind was we had this whole episode that was literally like a anime John Woo style chase scene where we weren't like, we were kind of in initiative order, but it was like just like I cut the chandelier and swing, and so just like things that you can't do in D&D, but like.
Yeah, it was that Chase Through Waterdeep, right? Where you all had like you had cards and like something would come up, like each of you
That was
get dealt
fun.
like an obstacle that
Yeah.
you had to deal with. Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, and I flew on
The
Avril
chicken.
flew on the chicken like Link. So good. I've never been happier.
That was super fun.
That was too pure.
Yeah, if there's anything I've learned from the Ironkeep Chronicles, it's that I love fucking around with stuff that's not built into the system.
Right.
Like it started with like, here's these 9 cards that like these different lords of the Iron Keep, and they're going to influence the game and stuff like that, and it got like so hard to keep track of everything that was happening with that.
Hey, I always wrote them down.
Where are your notes?
Oh, I should have brought them so I could share the stupid half-baked notes I take.
Just turn to a random page and read what it says.
Totally
Speaking of
nonsense.
turning to a random page and reading what it says, Naughty It has a question for the table. Fish?
Fish? Find fish?
Fine fish.
Find fish?
Yeah, sure. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, please find fish. All right.
I had fish and chips in Ireland, and I think about it every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have been good.
It was
Or really bad.
really good.
We where did we go? When we were in Canada, we had fish and chips. We were in Edmonton.
I've had fish and chips too. They got them like near my house is a place. So.
If you haven't had them in Ireland, you haven't had them.
I feel like that's kind of true, actually.
I ate them on like a cold, wet ground out of the greasiest piece of paper I've ever touched. That's how you know they're real.
That's how I feel about
They're a
croissants.
fucking mess.
I'm such a fucking croissant.
Oh, you are a croissant elitist.
I was at a really fancy hotel today, and I had a croissant, and I went, wow.
Wow.
How dare they?
This is fun.
Eric's hotel dropping again. I was at a really fancy hotel today with my mistress.
It only had valet parking.
Oh.
And I was the
Oh, were
only...
you at the Ace?
No.
Oh.
It was in Pasadena.
Beetle C wants to know, can I get the sexy Tarrasque's number?
Oh.
Yes, it's 5.
86753.
It's 5. Yeah, that's the OG shit.
How many times did we fight the Tarrasque over the course of the entire campaign?
The sexy Tarrasque?
Twice.
Once. The first time the sexy Tarrasque didn't attack us.
You're right.
It immediately destroyed the universe.
Well, the first time it wasn't real, it was an illusion.
Oh, right.
Well, there was 2 Tarrasques in that one, right?
One Tarrasque was real, but the sexy Tarrasque I manifested was a major illusion that I used my hero's favor for.
And you didn't fight
555, yes.
You didn't fight it mostly because you decided wisely to run into the summoning circle or the ley line circle.
Was it wise? Because I'm pretty sure that's what destroyed the universe. Like, was us trying to save our own lives from the Tarrasque what destroyed the universe? Because that is very selfish.
I think destroying the Tarrasque destroyed the universe.
I mean, so the canonical answer was when you killed the Tarrasque, that's what destroyed the universe.
Because I think it was maintaining all of the chaos in the multiverse.
Not an alert.
Yeah. I had a lot of kind of very heady sort of cosmology stuff that did
we know.
land.
We're aware.
Hey, you watched episode 2. All right, great.
I think I was sitting here trying so hard to use my brain, just like, okay, I'm still here. I just totally understand what's happening. I totally understand what you're saying.
You were talking about the glass and like how it focused the light, and I was just sitting there giving dumb names to the staff, which I have already forgotten.
And then I was like, ooh, Alton's naked right now. He's going to walk around and never put clothes on.
Yeah. I was just like...
And I had that weird bird panic. That was my... where I just thrashed like I was caught in like a net or a spider web or something.
All right, so what are the epic monsters of the campaign that we have fought? The Tarrasque showed up twice?
Yeah, because we summoned it at the end as well.
At the end.
Well, that was not the best summoning. I think you bookended the campaign with both Seshki Tarrasque and Tiamat's jilted ex-lover. Like between those two, I was like,
I did not anticipate that.
Yeah, that was great.
That was nuts.
So Tarrasque, Tiamat's jilted ex-lover,
Bahamut
showed up, right?
Yeah.
Gothius.
Yeah,
that was a fun fight.
You essentially have encountered Xanathar a couple times.
Yeah, we never fought him, but we got pretty close a few times.
Well, technically we fought like the last half of them, right? Or the last third of them.
Okay, so that brings me around to a different question, which is like, what monster were you most afraid of when it got introduced, where you're like, oh, I don't know how we're going to deal with this?
I guess I'll go first because I opened my mouth and and I don't know how to share. I think when we first I remember when it came out that because we knew that Jinji had killed Thon's father, and then when Thon's like, I'm gonna fight Jinji, and we'd all just barely survived a thing, but we're like, he's one guy, he can't be that hard. He's like, okay, he opens his mouth and it goes forever, and there's eyes inside, and he's like this weird eldritch beast, and he's like,
it's like Eldritch Fae.
And then it's like roll, you had us all roll wisdom saves, and then it's like we all passed except for Gaurav, and it's like you pass out, and you're like, okay, maybe we won't fight Jinji right now.
We just drag him off. I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah, I think we're done.
And bye, sorry to bother you.
He's drunk. Don't mind him.
Jinji was one of those characters where it's like we didn't hate him. We kind of had a working relationship with him, I guess.
Yeah. It turned into that, right?
Yeah.
It started with, he's this evil poisoner dude that you were
But
like,
he was literally under Xanathar's
Yeah, we were
control the
like,
entire
sure, we'll
time.
help you. He's like, well, you have to because I've poisoned you all.
That was shitty. I did not appreciate that. I didn't appreciate that. And neither did Avril.
That's true. Was there a different figure, entity, thing besides Gingy when that you were like?
Oh, I was really worried about the frog.
Oh, yeah, that's what I
I
was gonna
felt
say. I was
really
like,
bad because honestly, I didn't think because I mean Avril v. Grayson in a feat of strength, like
Yeah,
him
there-
being
I
able
was
to
like-
make an opposing strength check. I was like, that never should have worked.
Grayson was so much stronger and wearing power armor. There's no way that Avril should have been able to push him over.
But and then it was funny until I think we realized how powerful the frog monster was, and I think it was apparent to us that we couldn't defeat it. Like we would just have to maneuver out of the situation somehow. Because I forget if it hit somebody and did. It swallowed you
Yes,
whole
it
and
basically
was
swallowed.
deteriorate. It was like
Yeah, it's like the first
digesting you.
the first round of acid damage took away like half my health as a paladin at like level 6.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, this is not game anymore.
I think there was also a problem in that, like, you sunk directly to the
Yeah,
bottom.
right.
Yeah, because I was like, it's 100 feet. You go straight to the bottom.
Yeah,
'Cause you
and
were
then
wearing-
everybody
yeah.
else had to swim, so it was just like
Us-
a couple rounds of using their movement to swim down.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was fucked up.
Yeah.
And I was scared we weren't going to be able to get out of it somehow. And we all died in that weird tank
Mm-hmm.
because a tank prank.
Do you have a runner-up choice, or was the Frogomite
Mistakes
kind of
were
like,
made.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah, that's a
But
big one.
also with Gingy, that I remember that was bad news.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't know who he was. I was like, oh, a person. Oh no. What are you doing?
Also, Golthius, I guess, was fucked up.
Yeah.
And we killed Gregory.
What
You
was
killed Gregory.
I
What
did
was-
not canonical.
the thing we fought at the end of the Barrier Peaks?
Oh, that was...
Oh, it was like on the outside of the ship.
Yeah, that was Xanathar. Xanathar took in the
Oh,
like
right,
God's
okay.
fire and became this giant...
That was
monster
fucked
thing.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember like trying to get around the ship and fight, and like we were like, I don't know if we're gonna make it out of this.
Yeah. You were taken in by the weird, what was it, like clone people or whatever?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Every one of the, like, if you ever go back and read those modules, you'd be like, where did this come from?
So weird.
There's so much stuff that is not in those adventures.
Like they weren't necessarily like scary, but I loved fighting those like the weird like jellyfish people.
Oh, yeah.
When
In
you're,
the
like,
river.
Yeah, like on the boat or anything where we
Yeah,
had,
we got their memories.
where we kept like getting
Ooh,
like
no.
those like kind of bizarre fun mechanics. Like was that in
That's-
My favorite
Go
part
ahead.
of that was that you get hit and he's like, Kyle, what's a good memory of him? It's like, the first time he made soup. He's like,
You
lose that. And it's like, why would
That's so fucked up.
Yeah,
That's
why would
so
you
fucked
volunteer
up.
that?
Because it wasn't provided context. It wasn't provided context. But were those in the module?
Yeah, so in When a Star Falls, kind of the inciting incident is that you fight this thing called a memory web, right? But it's just one monster. It's not like multiple things. But it had like there had been these, the master of the tower had dispatched these monks to go see Derwith, and on their way there they got attacked by this memory web that killed them all, and it absorbed their memories. And so you stumble upon that creature before it's digested all of their memories, and that's how essentially like their quest gets tattooed on your forehead, and you're supposed to go forward, right?
That's so haunting.
So yeah, it's a really interesting, kind of little hook for like anybody. We don't know anything about the backstory of the party. Here, swap, you go. So I modified it a little bit so that I don't know. Like one thing I learned about like D&D 5e is like if everybody fights one monster, that one monster will die.
Yeah.
Yes.
On round one, largely, right? So I think I split it up into like the multiple things that were attacking, and I put in, I can't remember. there might have been a thing where you had to make a saving throw or whatever, but I feel like I put in the thing where it's tell me the specific memory that you lose.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a dark, sinister part of your mind. Oh my god.
Next question.
Oh, also just on the monster thing, being inside the Primordium planet dragon.
Oh yeah,
was kind of scary.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure if we can't find the fuel. Is there a way to get out of here?
Yeah.
We just live here now.
That was super fun.
Freaky.
Yeah, I feel like, if I have one regret about that particular arc is just how compressed everything ended up being to keep it to 10 episodes. It's like, I feel like we could have spent, we could have had a little bit, like 2 sessions inside
we could have had a dungeon crawl in the dragon. That would have been so sick.
Yeah, like exploring hell and like...
Yeah. In the first city, the city that was built on the back of Bahamut, there was this whole thing where you escaped through the body, right?
I remember you telling me.
Yeah, and there was going to be a more of encounters inside the corpse of Bahamut.
And then there was supposed to be like a sort of like a after credits teaser where if we pass a perception check, we see his heart still beats. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you want to tell them why that was Bahamut's corpse?
I think I mentioned it on Twitter.
On Twitter.
Yeah. But
it wasn't really bad about
directly. Well, so originally, it was supposed to be the Primordium was supposed to be all of the different multiverses have collapsed and sort of moshed together, they're all falling into this weird burning vault of chaos, right? And so it's every possible variation of the multiverse and all of the outer planes and every version of the past and the future and all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, well, here we'll just mix up. It'll be a fantasy city built on the back of an aircraft carrier. And you were that session, you were literally talking to Tessarian and the weird, you're in the weird bird baby nest or whatever. And all of a sudden, Havana just goes, God, is this going to be another one of those science fantasy bullshit? I fucking hate science fiction in my high fantasy. I just want to play high fantasy. And I was
That's not an exaggeration.
I get my pen out here and just cross out aircraft carrier and write in dragon. No, that's not good enough. Write in platinum dragon. Boom. I mean...
I'm so sorry, but also thank you so much.
I mean, it's not like I had extensive notes on the. No,
sure.
I mean that seriously. I didn't have. I was just I know what an aircraft carrier is like. I can freelance this. No big deal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I threw a bunch of.
Tom's looked at the camera. Did you pull a Jim Halpert when I said that? Because in the moment I did not notice. I didn't realize that had happened until you told me later.
To be fair, anytime you watch basically the first hour or the last hour of the Ironkeep Chronicles, there's at least 3 Jim Halpert moments.
It's just you deadpanning the camera.
I think at that point it was a lot of looking left, right, left, right, left, right.
Okay, all right, yeah.
You were trying to calculate if I could kill you. Is she strong enough? Do I think what do I think she has access to?
Is she close enough to strike me? Can I back away?
Have I left my drink near her tonight?
How good is she with a blade? Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It was trickier in the earlier seasons of Ironkeep Chronicles because I had generally talked about, well, here's what's supposed to happen, and here are my great ideas for tomorrow's night session. And in the last, arc, I had to scale things back, and so I wasn't doing disorganized play, and so fortunately, it was as much of a journey for the audience as it was for you guys. So I didn't have to tip my hand of oh well, which just has its ups and downs, but yeah. So I changed it, but I think, here's the thing, right? I feel like what came out of that was a far more interesting choice. It was a far more interesting scenario of and raised the stakes so much more. Bahamut is dead means a whole lot more than here's an old aircraft carrier.
And like none of us until like we read Twitter the next day would have had any idea. Like you said it and we're like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Kyle drew a picture of it. I was like, that looks great. It's so great that you planned this the entire
I think
time.
he wants water, Dom. I think he wants a little bit of water.
Luigi, a ding dong.
Luigi's just roaming the
Luigi,
halls
Luigi.
again.
Wrong
You
way.
fool!
No, that's a trash.
Don't eat trash. I've tried it. I don't recommend it. Ew.
Yeah, I if I was going to give DM advice, it would be like try to capitalize on those ideas that your players bring to the table. You know, I always say, like, you have 4 minds who are working on whatever problem is in front of them, and they're probably going to come up with something more interesting than what your one brain has decided is the answer.
Well,
So-
I don't know necessarily more interesting, but more diverse.
It's like, I mean, it's kind of like when you're in a writer's room. It's like, you know, if someone pitches a joke that's funny, take it. They're
Right.
giving you that joke.
Yeah.
Take the joke. Like,
Yeah.
We've all
Exactly.
been in a writer's room, Eric.
haven't we?
Hey.
I by writer, everybody, by writer's room, I mean my indie sketch team that I actively pay money for.
I think I think when you're the DM, you're faced with a sort of interesting balancing act in that part of the premise of the game is the GM is going to challenge everyone, right? You're going to challenge the players. They need to overcome, or really ultimately what it comes down to is they need to figure out some sort of mystery, and that means they can't. Amanda,
When did this creature come near me?
this is my tiny
snuck
dog,
up
dear.
Luigi.
When did he come here?
30 seconds.
Doing? Luigi's haunting me.
He's stuck. He can't back up.
What's going? Oh my God, you can't, can you? Go around.
Yeah. Are you gonna come around? Come on.
Come here. Come on.
Oh boy, buddy.
He's tricking you into
Lure him
French
with
fries.
Come on.
fries.
Come here. You can
No,
do it.
he knows you have French fries.
Come on. Yes. Come on.
What a weirdie. Is it that shelf he's scared of? Probably.
Whenever
Bonk his
whenever
head.
he meets a stranger and they look at him and they're like, "Oh, he's so elegant," and I'm like, just watch him try to back up or maneuver a flight of stairs.
Beep,
You'll
beep, beep.
you'll be
beep,
wrong. Yeah.
beep.
Really
Yes,
good.
there is.
Having some chomps.
Yum, 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 yum. Oh, someone asked if the otter's in the studio, Dom?
Mhm.
Where? That's what I turned around to look for was an otter, and I was
Yeah,
met
yeah.
by a giant
Luigi
dog.
was there. Hey, lay down, buddy.
Oh, it's in the trash can.
Wow, you threw the baby otter away.
Not true. Hey, lay down.
There's
Yeah.
It's so adorable.
So cute. There it is. Little Ava. Baby otter
This
Ava.
is what I actually look like, clearly. Just a little bit of
So cute.
fish gill blue on her face.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, so cute. And that happened because you were gone for an episode, right?
Yeah.
So
Just-
Tom's solution, since Ava or Megan played Ava, a druid, Asimar, turned her into an otter for the whole episode.
Tom used to be like, we used to do that a lot. Like Amy can't be here, so she just starts humming and is frozen completely still for an episode. But then after a while, that gets hard to come up with ideas. So it's like, I don't know, they're there somewhere.
He's sick on the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we were like, he has food poisoning.
back in my old D&D group, we used to call it the dungeon runs. Oh, we can't make it this week? His character's got the
that's
dungeon
real
runs.
though. That's amazing. Can you imagine how much diarrhea they would actually have in the D&D universe? Like,
If you have a cleric with you, though, they probably can just like purify
Purify the
food and
water.
drink or
I mean,
whatever.
Just think about how much.
what if you don't though?
But
We
who's
haven't
preparing that? No,
We've never had a cleric in our party.
I've never had a cleric that actually prepares that.
Could a paladin do that?
I mean, if he likes you.
Grayson liked Avril.
Okay.
Aw.
Ava probably could have taken care of for the water, at least for the
That's a good
period
point.
of time she was there.
Right, that's a good point. She probably get
I
hella
can't relieve
water.
you, but I can shape water.
Here you go.
Into your mouth. You just splash
Yeah.
everybody.
That is something she would probably
It
do.
is something she has done.
How close are they standing to that fountain? No good.
Oh, every time we're near body water, how close is everybody?
It just depended on what she was feeling, which thing she was that day. Was she mischievous? Most of the time, yes. So
I think we went like almost 4 sessions before we took a long rest, so none of us had any idea that was a mechanic of your character.
Right?
yeah, because
I
she
was
just
so cool.
stayed mischievous forever. I had 4 of them.
Yeah,
but-
explain for people who weren't tuned into what was going on.
So Ava, being sort of a not a disciple, of the water goddess. What was she? What was it called?
Asma?
Basharla.
Basharla, but what?
Basharla.
Avatar
Yeah.
of water goddess Basharla. So I kind of built into her that her moods and what she's like changes kind of like water. She can be really sweet and playful, or she can be really grumpy and dark, whatever it was. But every time we had a long rest, I would roll a d4 and see what came up, and that was her dominant personality during the time. So I think I had mischievous. I was trying to do like water focused things. So I had tranquil, mischievous, stormy, and I forget what the other one was. Anyway, I wanted to do more.
Was tempestuous in there?
I don't think so.
It was mischievous, tempest, stormy, and a real dick.
Real dick.
Dick.
You know that episode where she was so emo was so fun.
That was stormy.
Because we were all just like, what is happening?
Like, our characters were like that, but also us as players.
Us as people were like, wait.
We've been playing with you for a month and a half. What is going on?
Who are you?
Oh my goodness.
You guys were like, is she a teenager now?
That's what we were
Yeah.
thinking. We honestly thought you were aging up super fast.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh no, we have a teen daughter now. I don't know what we're
There
gonna
was
do.
that whole fun dynamic of like, you're only 3 days old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of like, what does she know? What does she? Because it's not like she was born baby. You know, she was born with some knowledge, but then like figuring out what that was and what it wasn't was interesting.
I think we got her drunk on the day she was born.
Oh yeah. I think so.
We're like, well, welcome to the world. Let's get hammered.
And we accidentally had her eat fish soup,
Yeah.
right? Which was super upsetting. Where she's like, wait, what's in this? Yeah. This is a crazy first day. You think we took you shopping?
Yeah, I think we did. We did a shopping montage or something and
would
got
love-
matching dresses.
Yeah.
Because she was like, let's get the same one.
Okay. Great. Great. Yeah, that was a good app. Those yeah.
Modern Chow wants to know what cards were left in the deck of many things.
Oh wow, so
So
many.
many.
Did you bring it?
I didn't bring it, and I can't remember. I mean, in my DM's notebook, I have like written down like which ones you had drawn, but like you had drawn basically all of the good ones. I don't think there were very many good ones.
Did I ever use that wish?
No.
No.
And I never really got to meet my arch enemy.
Oh, that's right.
Because I think I was going to use my wish to get rid of your arch enemy, but
So it worked out.
Yeah. You had you had a wish left from your Ring of Wishes.
Yep.
Yeah. No, like I was honestly kind of surprised that the deck of many things didn't.
Yeah, it was.
It should have went more sideways than it did.
Yeah, I'm using it in another game, and it's gotten real bad for the characters.
Wow.
Right. I mean, some of it was just like pure luck in terms of the character who has really no interest in worldly possessions gets all of their worldly possessions ripped away.
Sure, right.
And then there, some of it was chat, like giving you a couple outs.
Yeah.
But yeah, chat was definitely
Freaking out. Stop touching the cards!
you were so like it was such like gambler syndrome of like, well, hey, we're on a roll.
Might as well take one look. Yeah, it
in
worked
my
out.
defense, I pulled a bad one, but then we sent it to somebody else, so I didn't really get to pull one. And I got a cool fan out of it.
Yes.
Yes.
That was chat's doing again. Like in like session 1 of that arc, I said I think I said they'll get a deck of many things.
Wow.
I had so much fun with that, because I've always been scared to introduce a deck of many things into like my games, and after we did that one time, I like immediately like threw it into my Sunday game like when we were going through, and
Wowie.
they've ruined their lives.
I tell
They
you,
ruined their lives! I bet you love that.
I remember, being a teenager and somehow we came across one, and it was that whole thing of like, let's get the, you have to go through the regular playing card deck and pull out the specific cards.
All the face cards and then the twos.
Mm-hmm. And then you shuffle them all together and you start dealing them out, and then it's cross-reference on that chart. And yeah, I think we ended up having to fight that like weird avatar of death. Yeah, at one point. Yeah, it was wild. All right. Next question from Bondo to everyone. What was your happiest accident, i.e., action your character or an NPC took that resulted in something completely different than what you expected?
Well, the frog thing.
yeah, that's right. Prank time.
I think that second episode of this last season where Alton tries to infiltrate the Brewers Guild.
That was a great episode.
It was so much fun to fail so badly at everything. Because it worked out so great. It was so much fun to fail so terribly.
And Strum trying so hard to help you to no avail.
Yeah,
it was just like...
And then like getting arrested and like almost sentenced to death, and I love that. I loved how badly.
But in the end, it led us to the place we need to be, which is interesting.
Right.
Which I think it's just good DMing on top.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of that. It's always a question of like, well, how can I link this back to what I had thought about? What?
No, I just thought of mine.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're done?
I haven't really given mine. I was just commenting on what.
Oh, I know. I meant you're done with your sentence.
Yeah.
The rat shit closet.
Yeah.
That was bad. That was bad.
These two weren't
they
here for the
weren't
rat
there.
shit closet.
Are you gonna tell it? You have a better memory than me.
Okay, so
Here's a story all about Avril, and her life got turned around.
It's sort of this kind of maybe the thematic of the whole campaign. To be honest,
it's definitely Avril's character.
Yeah, it summed up Avril's character so clearly in our minds.
R.I.P. Dusty Bones.
R.I.P. Dusty Bones.
Wow, he's not dead.
He is dead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, technically.
But we were in the Sunless Citadel, and like there was like a bunch of doors everywhere, and there was like one door in particular. And
Avril, for context, Avril is a straight up good for nothing thief.
Yeah.
Halfling.
And then I think Avril did like a perception check on the door, and then Tom was like, "You hear a lot of scratching, like a lot of scratching on the other side of this door." And she's like, "I throw it open and let out my arms." And I don't know what you were expecting.
I don't think I heard anything. I think we were gonna move on.
Oh yeah, we were gonna move on.
And Tom had indicated that it was just a closet, and everybody was like, "It's a closet.
It's a closet.
Leave
move
it
on."
alone.
And she's like, "No."
I've got to check everywhere because what if there's something I need to steal in there?
And you like threw it open, and he's like, "There are so many rats in there." And you're like, I open up my arms to embrace them, and there's just this wall of rats and shit like come flowing out of there.
Knock me prone.
Yeah, and then and we have to deal with this pile of rats that is now attacking us.
I almost died twice during that rat encounter, right? Because I got downed, and then and then got brought back up, and then I got downed again by the rats again.
And then because Tom is a gracious GM, he put a magical item tied to Amy's character in there so that we didn't feel like we wasted our time.
What was in there?
It was the tiny little jade dragon.
Oh,
it was the first one of those.
Right.
Right.
That whole thing was fucked up.
Yeah,
the whispering jade dragons.
Amy's character heard a lot of voices in that first season. Yes. That almost went completely sideways.
Yes, but yeah, that was probably in the past 2 years. That's probably the most intense battle I've ever gone through. Was that closet full of shit rats? Almost killed me twice.
Do you two, either of you have a happy accident that happened that took you to a place that you didn't expect?
I just remember, I can't remember a specific time. I don't remember details super well, but I remember the sense of when we were first getting down into the barrier peaks, like getting down and we knew at the table that we were dealing with like robots and machines and stuff, but our characters didn't. So there's this element of like, but it took us a little while. There's this element of trying to treat all this stuff one way, and then it was just completely like not working because you know they were robots basically.
Banging it on
I remember,
stuff.
yeah, we were traveling through a thing and he was describing the stuff. And then I was like, I know what we're walking through. So I drew a picture of an arcade cabinet. And I was like, does it look like this? I was like, yeah, I wish Grayson knew what any of this was.
Yeah, there's so much of that kind of stuff that we're like, that's gonna read our eye, but we don't know. Okay. Which was
that's the really hard part of that adventure.
I think we balanced that real well of like our character not knowing what it was, but then eventually gaining enough knowledge that we could move past the what is this? Hit it.
Oh yeah, the voice in the desk was a lot of fun.
That was great. I loved that character.
I love my desk.
I feel like that kind of stuff where it was like we kind of consciously, knew our characters didn't know this stuff, so we came up with like silly, and it just made for fun, I think.
Yeah. So Kyle, they ended up talking to a computer at some point in the Expedition of the Barrier Peaks. Mm-hmm. And so I brought in my iPad and hooked it up to a Bluetooth speaker, and I downloaded one of those voice text-to-speech things. Yeah. And so every time they talked to it, I'd like type the response and then hit the thing, and it would play it back. It's fun to do like for one encounter. It's so time consuming to keep typing that stuff in, but it definitely made a memorable role playing encounter. I don't know. You can't have that. You can give him a French fry though. Yeah.
Why don't you let your dog eat cigarettes?
Yeah, that's weird.
A monster.
It's funny because he's a dog from the track. He loves the smell of cigarettes.
Oh wow!
I'm sure
but
because they smoke
a cigarette.
Yeah, he thinks he can eat that.
He thinks it's a French fry.
Yeah.
You'd be really disappointed. It's not even a real cigarette.
Are you being bad? Or are you being
bad
good?
Boy?
It's like as big as this table.
Look at his beautiful eyes.
You just take that.
Big beautiful eyeballs.
He's like, I will eat that cookie. I will do it.
We have like 20 more questions.
Oh well, we got it. Okay, keep moving.
So,
well, when we started, we had 2.
So I think for mine, like, if it was a specific moment, I think probably when I was like, I was so gung ho about like trying to find the druid, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna befriend all of his owls, and it just turned out that the owls were just the worst thing in the forest, and like I liked that became like a point of my character. I'm like, no, we're dealing with owls. Fuck those guys. I'm all about nature. I want to protect the forest, but fuck owls.
I think it came from me saying they were stupid, and somehow that led to you being like, they're evil. I don't know.
Even the evil. They literally
they suck.
I was just trying to talk with get any bit of information out of them, and Tom was having so much fun of just like making sure that I was so frustrated by the end of that, and it worked out so well. And just my own failure was just the fact that I think I don't know if on the second season I succeeded at a hero's favor once.
I don't think you did.
I loved it that every time I was like, I'm gonna try this thing, and it was just always
got it back.
just
oh boy,
never mixed. Yeah. Always a straight failure.
The only one that I pulled out was the time where I like failed, but then somehow ended up spilling all of my treasure, but then like succeeded on all my saves against it, and then all of a sudden I'm just like rolling in it, and I'm just this gem covered dude like waddling away from the bad guy, like Zoidbergen.
Sorry to bother you. I'll be going. Hitting the old dusty tray.
Badger.
I'm trying to think like if there was an accident or whatever. There's plenty of stuff that I had thought about one way and then changed my plans on it. I don't know. I think those anytime there was an arc where I turned somebody from being like a kind of a cardboard villain into like a real relationship with the party, like the Gingy turn was probably like one of the things I was happiest with in terms of, I don't know if it wasn't necessarily an accident, but it certainly wasn't planned that guy was going to turn into somebody that would come back in the campaign, or even that you'd have any sort of like when he got captured by Xanathar and was being tortured, like you honestly like had like pity towards him, right? And he went from like the first few encounters with him was like this guy, where
We're gonna kill
like
him.
Garav was out for blood, like and like
I think
one
he was the whole session.
like one of his character's main motivations was like at some point I'm going to get revenge on this guy. So yeah, that doesn't really answer the question, but that's my best answer for now. Simath Pirnikov says, what was your favorite encounter to design or fight in? We've covered some of this, I think, a little bit. Is there anyone
we kind of just talked about
one
it.
that stands out?
Yeah, we kind of covered a lot of it.
I don't know your end mechanic where we with all of the like
The Scrabble pieces.
the Scrabble pieces and essentially the fate nodes from the Codex of Time or whatever it was. And
Right.
Like I just liked how kind of bizarre and wonderful.
He does a lot of great stuff like that.
Yeah, as we were
yeah.
you were talking about before. But yeah, I just supremely enjoyed that encounter because like it not only was it a fun mechanic, but it really got my mind away from the fact that we're all level 6 facing a challenge rating 30. You know,
Right?
Yeah, I'm just like, how do we just? Do I just lay down? Do I just like
Play dead?
Yeah.
I enjoyed like also the end of the investigation arc in Waterdeep, where we were in like that weird, I forget what the weird realm where it was like the tinfoil covered
The
like
mirror
land,
or whatever.
and yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Wait, what was like you went from the mirror realm, like dimension or whatever it was, into the silver stronghold or whatever.
Yeah,
it was called.
because Asmodeus was like using the love of the love god to bring himself back.
Right, he was impersonating the goddess of passion and love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
that was an epic fight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
also not an adventure.
Man, yeah.
But the cube of force knocking someone into
right. That was so cool. That was my idea.
What arc was that in? Like what adventure did you insert that?
It was called, I believe it was called the Mysterious Investigation, or it's a mystery thing that's going on where there's this play going on in Waterdeep and it gets disrupted, and it turns out that the cultists have been putting people into plays all around the city and basically sort of like brainwashing people by putting subliminal messages into the thing.
Love it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I
so
love all cult things.
It opened up a lot.
Here for it.
Modern Chow said, Grayson revealed to be a doppelganger really messed me up in a good way. What was the inspiration for that?
I think we've talked about this before, but that was literally after a session. We were like standing outside, and I think everyone else had gone, and Tom's like, how do you feel about Grayson? I was like, it's fine. I think I'd just switch him to a redemption paladin or something like that. And I was like, it's fine. I think he's getting better. I'm enjoying this. All right. It's like, what if he was a doppelganger? And then it spent like maybe 2 months going back and forth over Discord about like why he's a doppelganger, like what his backstory was, and we had not settled on a word of it. Like I'd changed my mind like 8 times, and then Tom was like, and the Gothius fires a weird like beam of force, and everyone sees that you're a doppelganger. I'm like, fuck, I was not ready for this, which I think was the perfect way to handle it.
Right? Yeah.
Was it that, or was it?
Wasn't it? Or no?
Somebody moonbeamed you, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
That was later on. That was there, but this was the last session with Amy when in that arc,
right.
because we were fighting Gothius, and then like it was like the last chat tier donation, and we had not decided we were even like sure that
It just said like Grayson reveals a secret, right?
No, yeah, and we didn't know, and you had not informed me that we were going this route, and then Gothius like fired at me and like showed off that I was a doppelganger, and I think, and then eventually like with Ava, like we kept that secret for Ava until she hit me with a moonbeam.
Yeah, and then you were like, you chose to stay that way, right?
Yeah, because he was being punished.
Yeah, yeah, we were like, I don't think.
That was another like happy accident. Was like I was like, well, if he's got these doppelganger powers, what if I use them? Which was me kind of metagaming a little bit, and I kind of in power gaming, and I felt weird about that. But then getting hit with that, revealed as a doppelganger, and then like the added thing of like we inject ourselves with God's fire, so I was like struggling to maintain my powers. I was like, this is fun. I kind of cheated. Grayson kind of cheated, and now everyone knows he's a doppelganger, and he's at odds with his god. So it's like I have to play that as a thing, and now he feels like his god is abandoning him, and his god should be, because he's a bad person.
You know, and it's such a great, you know, it's a great take on the character, because if you had started with that, with the character concept of I'm a doppelganger and then I'll be a paladin and da-da-da, like if you started off with it traditionally, you wouldn't have any reason to go, why don't I use my powers, right? You just think of ways that you could kind of like get away with using your powers.
Yeah.
But to come to that point with the character concept where you're like, okay, well, in order to retcon this or make sure that this fits with the backstory, there must be a reason that I don't use my powers. Yeah. To be fair, the inspiration for all of that came from the one-shot that Havana ran at the summer camp where...
Camp Tallywhacker is what it was called.
Oh, you mean that camp where the doppelganger murdered somebody so hard that he punched him in the face and it formed a bowl of like gore and vomit that Gaurav like puked into the caved-in skull?
Yes, that one.
But the inspiration came about because in the
with
final fight
with the talking stick, talking shillelagh.
Grayson's character ended up fighting one of the doppelgangers, and then I was like, well, what if Grayson's not the one who like escaped that encounter? Like maybe Grayson got, you know, tagged as a doppelganger. The doppelganger took his place or whatever. Like I hadn't really like come up with that idea until we played that one shot. So, yeah. So it wasn't just like something that I thought of. It was something that was suggested through the...
It was something I thought of.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everyone.
Everything I do, I steal from Havana.
SF Giants 49er wants to know, what was your most exciting moment in the season?
Oh. When Storm could fly. That was the best.
That's right.
That was the best.
Yeah.
I felt really emotional.
Yeah.
That was really great.
To be perfectly honest, I think my most exciting moment in the season was when
Making the perfect suit.
Well, that was great. That was last season, and I absolutely adored being able to cook. But
yeah, I think any season is fair game.
Oh, okay. But like, I just remember being so excited and so disappointed when like you said. Well, I was watching the game, and you were like, and they're going to a swamp, and I was like, oh god!
And you weren't here.
The one time I'm not there is the one chance I get to actually use my favorite terrain. Like, you know, like it's just something that a ranger gets to put onto a paper and be like, one day I'll use you. You know, and I was like,
oh my
god, no. And I don't think it would have really mattered anyway, but I remember being so like, I want to do it.
Do you have?
I'm trying to think of something specific. I always really enjoyed the moments when, because one thing I really liked about Ava, one thing I thought about Ava as being sort of based on Matt Smith's the Doctor, who was just kind of like a big playful kid, and then he could be really terrifying, and that's kind of what I thought of her as. And it was really fun, like when you guys with the Stormy, like we were talking about earlier, where she kind of flipped and you were like, who is this person, why is she so grumpy? It was fun to kind of play with that kind of stuff. So I often liked the opportunities that came up, like someone standing close to a fountain and being able to splash people, and just kind of playing with this adult, powerful person who is really also a kid. I just, those opportunities I really enjoyed, and also just kind of going through her arc of like, what are these people worth saving? You know,
right.
or is Barshala, is what she's trying to do bad? Like, what is all of this? And
there's definitely some mixed messages there. Of like she's bringing sort of this apocalyptic wave of, you know, I remember one of those visions.
Yeah. So I really just enjoyed all those moments when they popped up.
Yeah, it was fun to watch too.
Yeah.
Just like a really OP Bildungsroman.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Those quiet character moments are always really nice.
Yeah, they are.
Probably my favorite. It's kind of a series, but we did like we went into like the Hall of Mirrors, and we were like had to like make a wish or whatever, like something, and or like we were like asking for something, and in return, like Tom gave us like prophetic visions of the future for each one of our characters, and then like 3 months down the line, these like he remembered all of this, and these started happening to our characters in session, and every time like one of these came up, we're like, what? How do you remember that this?
I don't even remember what they were.
I remember like Grayson's was that he was very hurt and standing there, and then a paladin came up in armor and lifted its visor, and it was a doppelganger, and he said, "Brother, we found you." And then we were in the Barrier Peak. We'd gotten through a big old fight with a robot. I was very injured, and then these metal men in power armor showed up, lifted their visor, and it's a friggin' doppelganger. And it's like, how do you weave that together?
Yeah.
I knew we were going to run an expedition to the Barrier Peaks when we had that.
There was like
thing. Yeah.
I don't remember the other ones specifically because I'm.
Oh, was mine finding my parents? Yeah. My vision was of like my parents locked up with those like gem encrusted collars on, and that did happen.
And then I think
that was fucked up.
Yeah.
I think probably like my all-time favorite, I don't know, it's hard to say my all-time favorite, but one of my favorite moments from this past arc for sure was when Vithin Shrouds shows up and is like, hey, I'll trade you for that worthless, rolling pin that you have, and and you're just like holding out, and you're like, no, you're evil, I won't do it. I just tried to chisel away at you, it wouldn't work. And then finally there's just that big reveal of like,
too pure.
pop.
That was a phenomenal moment.
I love that when somebody's like character, like, because I was like, if I were Grayson still, of course Grayson would say no, but Alton doesn't give two shits.
Right.
I forget what my item was too.
It was a spell scroll.
Yeah, you had like
which I never used.
Yeah,
but
the same thing. Like my rolling pin, I like tried to use it a few times, but every time it's like I would either just choose the exact wrong element for what we needed, or I would always forget about it.
Better roll out the soup.
Me and Amy used ours pretty well, so I guess.
Yeah.
But Amy gave hers up. Was like, oh sure. Yeah. She was one. I was like, she's not gonna give up this spear that calls lightning or whatever.
But it was like that for a fairy, so she made a very RP decision.
Yeah, definitely.
You put her in a spot where she couldn't refuse.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what you.
It was a good
me.
spot though, and I loved that sinking feeling at the end where I was like, "What? It's the what?"
Originally, it was flight.
I told you.
Oh god!
It was flight, but you're like, I already have that, and we didn't make this deal beforehand, so.
Yeah, and I think at one point, Vitha offered you like a helm of brightness, like a helm with a bunch of gems on it.
Shiny stuff.
Something like that.
And she also threatened her like apprentice's life.
Right, that was
not
scary.
Tortured him.
Tortured
We
him.
heard the screams.
Yeah. I did feel bad about that.
I think the reason
Trump tried to help.
the reason I love that so much was like you had those items from the beginning of that arc, and had no idea what and had opportunities, I guess.
If we talked about it with each other, like the Power Wars, and like done like the slightest bit of Googling, we could have figured out what it was.
Yeah, maybe, but that was.
Well, Googling
that's
would have
one
been
I'm proud of.
Yeah.
It was fun though. I enjoyed how much hate kind of like grew up around her just because of that. Like just a quick image of her at the beginning of the next session. We were just like, oh.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you.
Yeah, I do kind of wish, like in the finale, that there had been some sort of moment where you could like face off against Vitha again or something like that. I feel
she
like
was the most.
She got dead. On a kind of a different track, Tanak asks, "What's the funniest memory you have from any season?"
I mean, fuck Wugget, get Cassis, right?
Yeah.
Equal parts funny for what it was, but also equally funny for Amy's reaction.
Yeah,
oh my
in
God.
It never
tears
got
for
old.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a shirt. You can get it on TeePublic.
And there's a sale today.
There's a sale today. Get your Fuck Wogget t-shirt in commemoration.
$13 to get a t-shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cheap.
It was cheap.
The
I
last
bought
thing
one today.
you can't get anything for $13. These cookies were
20, 30.
30.
30.
$25.
Yeah, $25.30.
There it is.
But they do come with a free box of wine.
Fuck. Fuck Wogget, get Casses.
You know, I think one of the reasons of that is that like sticks so much is like I gave you like the list of what it was, and there was this whole thing of sort of like puzzling out like what's going on here and kind of like figuring out like, oh, okay, it's a ledger. And then and then it went through, and then finally kind of like it caught up to Amy of like what was happening, and somehow it just like snapped. Yeah, that was the sexy
So
Tarrasque
funny.
was
Sexy Tarrasque was good.
It's funny because I make GIFs of so many things, I have memories from GIFs. But I remember...
I dream in gifts.
I'm better visual than I am like auditory, so it makes sense. But I just remember there was one thing, and I can't remember what it was, but it was you and Gaurav, and it was something really weird happening, and you were laughing, and then I was like laughing, and you were like, "What are you doing?" And it was this back and forth thing. I don't remember what
are you doing? Are you laughing?
Yeah.
No, you're laughing.
I think.
What is
Do you remember what this was?
I don't remember that. I do remember there was a time where
Why are you
I was sitting where Kyle was, and I watched Havana. There was like a reroll or something, and then she was like looking, and Tom wasn't looking, and then she like was going for it as a joke, but then realized he wasn't looking, and then was like made eye contact with me, and was like, "What's this?" And then we're like,
What was I grabbing?
It's like a reroll. And then like you did it as a joke, but then you realized you were getting away with it. And then you just put it away, and then you're like, I don't know. And then like 20 minutes later, he's like, wait, didn't I have a reroll?
Well, I don't remember that reroll being there. I remember me having 5.
Like I thought that there was like a lot of very good inside jokes that like made for a lot of funny moments, like Top Boy
classic.
Top Boy, Roll for Butts, Hollow Bones, Cloaca, the ongoing debate of what I actually killed,
bedtime.
All the mushrooms you ate. Oh, bedtime shenanigans.
Yeah, bedtime
so
shenanigans
fun.
was really good. Like the demon song was like.
I remember. Do you remember Amy trying to play that for the first time and she could not?
Times.
And then we would all just be like red faced, like trying not to.
We had to start the show, and then like half an hour in, she's like, "Okay, I think I can do it."
It's a demon. So stupid.
yeah, that was hilarious. Oh my god.
I mean, this is super self-serving, but I loved the Mamma Mia one shot.
That was so good.
Just the
so
whole
much fun.
thing was so. I was like, my face hurt afterwards because it was just too perfect. Like the way everyone played it, I was like, that was the dream.
I have to agree
That's
with
the
Bastian Fields that the Meepo with their broken comment.
That was funny.
Meepo
yeah.
speaking this very high,
So
like
Meepo knows.
draconic.
It's like, brother.
Hello.
Well, the strange meat people certainly aren't going to catch on
No,
to
we
anything.
called them
this
hair people. Hair people. Someone mentioned in chat earlier that
twist.
they mentioned "Whoa Titty,"
Yeah.
where Amy is stood up at some point
It was
to
like-
reach on the table, and like in slow motion, I see her boob about to knock over a beverage onto the gaming table. It's like a McDonald's Coke or something, and I just go, "Whoa Titty!" I reach out to her and I yell, and she's like shocked, and then she just like looks down at her. Such a mess. Whoa, titty! Because there wasn't enough time to be like, Amy, stop! Your boob is about to knock over that soda, and it's gonna get on the gaming table, and it was like I was like Spider-Man. I just had to act fast, act now, and get out as much information as possible in as little time as possible. And I did it. I saved the day. No soda got on the gaming table. You're welcome, Dom.
Dom, I think this is more a question for you than anyone else. Benjamin M. Dan asks, will there still be a 5e D&D show on Saving Throw now that Ironkeep
There is one.
There is one.
Well,
Yes.
it's not. I mean,
there's
It's
the
here.
there's the
Ravnica.
Ravnica show for one on Mondays.
he said, I don't know.
He shrugged.
I know he's said that there are possibilities in the hopper. We'll probably do some shorter things. I doubt that I'll be DMing. I'm gonna take a break from DMing. Although I would love to come back and do some maybe little 3-week episodes or
Hard
one
pass.
shots of of some of the games that I mentioned. Like either do a one shot like I do a game night of Channel A, or I would love to come back and play Blades or Scum and Villainy or something like that.
Blades and
I think that would be
Scum
fun.
both sound super fun.
So yeah, just something kind of switch it up. I've been DMing 5e since it was before it was even in the public playtest mode, so that's pushing 5 or 6 years at this point. So I need to kind of
We should just take it back to the OG.
4th edition.
OG 4th edition.
So there will be something. Don't worry. Never fear.
The god Udo Meinhardt.
Dom, is there any chance of Tom Lommel ever being a regular player on one of the games in the future? Benjamin Dan asks.
No.
No
not.
chance. Tom is a terrible player, according to
That's
Dom.
not true.
I just played on Saturday. I played Roll for Shoes for the first time.
I was in the room where you were like, wait, I don't know how to GM that game. And John was like, you're not GMing it. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't understand.
Yes. No, I had a great time on Saturday turning into Brettman.
Bratman. I mean, you've been a player at my table a couple times.
That's
and
right.
I've always
you're-
appreciated you.
Yeah,
As a player?
What was the name of your character for the Mamma Mia game?
Well, he was just a version of whatever, but you put all those hats.
Fjordnord.
Yeah, there we go.
Fjordnord.
Yeah.
I think the first couple of things I played with Tom, and he was a player and not a GM.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because we played. We already mentioned it. The game where you're not rolling dice. It's the storytelling one.
Oh, Fiasco?
Fiasco.
Oh, you got to play Fiasco.
With Jordan
Tom?
Pridgeon, right?
That's
was
always
how
It was
my
basically a
favorite
D&D game, but it's set in Fiasco. And then we played Paranoia.
Yeah. Well, I ran Paranoia.
Oh, did you?
Mhm.
Okay, I lied then.
Yeah.
Liar.
That Fiasco game was intense. Were you one of my Golem brothers? Or?
No, I mean, me and Amy created. We had
You were the wizards.
Golem armies, and then
Right.
you were the weird rogue who was in love with the dead Tyler Rhodes.
Yes, that was amazing. Yeah.
I like the warlock for the warlock of Larlock was also everything you came across in Ravnica. They were like, we're scary and evil, and you're like, I worship the scariest evil thing alive. Screw you, get out of here.
That's right. All right. Keeping on.
Wait, would you want to be a player, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, yes.
Wow.
Number one, yes.
ESB.
No, but number two is I realized that
Jesus.
it's, and not just from playing stuff here, but going to cons and stuff like that. Because I've DM'd so much, it's I'm a difficult player because I have so many ideas that I want to get out, and I'm not used to not being able to just say what happened.
That's funny.
So I know that or I've become aware that oh well, I need to kind of I need to lay back a lot more than I normally do.
No.
That's a constant struggle for me.
Really?
Me too, but it's just because I'm a bad person.
I've really
I don't
never
GM
thought that of any of you, so I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
Oh my God, Dom! Bye, Eric. Miss you.
It's just I know it's a trap that I sort of have to make sure that I walk around whenever I'm playing in a game is not to take too much focus, not try to push too many of my ideas.
I will be honest, you brought one too many hats to that moment meeting.
I think the real problem was there was a scene where something was going on this side of the table, and I spent the entire time swimming over here, and I'm like, what?
Were you really?
Why is it even happening?
No, I love
right
it. No, that's like in improv. You're supposed to do that, right? You're supposed
boy.
to create action that is not distracting but fills the space. So I don't remember it negatively, so I must have appreciated it.
I loved your character, so.
Yeah.
Benjamin M. Dan is running down the possibilities here. Dom, are we ever going to see you GM or DM a game?
Ooh, we still have to do Planet Sega.
Yes,
Dom's
Planet
GMing.
Sega Genesis.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So yes, Planet Sega Genesis for sure.
What else are you gonna GM? Can we get some shrug emotes in the chat for Dom?
Is a man of many words.
Raid!
Who's raiding? I
Quests and
can't tell.
Chaos.
Oh.
Quests and Chaos. Look at that.
Look at those shields.
Grab the
Good
shield.
job, everyone.
You know, I will say, like, we've seen the interesting and fun thing about, this campaign is, like, we started in the tiny little closet studio and, like, made our way all the way over here.
We did it.
It's changed so much. I'm so proud of, like, everybody who's involved with the channel. An anonymous user asks Kyle, why weren't there more robot dinosaur arms?
What does that mean?
that was from Zeke's Pulp Adventure game, where we ended up fighting. We were all like 1920s Pulp Adventure characters that got like sent in like millions of years into the future, and we ended up fighting Nazis on the moon with robot dinosaurs. It was really quite fantastic.
Did you get those Nazis?
We did.
Great work.
Yeah.
Great
And
work.
I had like these like T-Rex arms like that I like
So
worked on my guy. They were like one of my like favorite things that I had on my character.
All right. Question 15 of 20. Estel Castillo says, do you think the overall tone of the Ironkeep Chronicles was set when Vanna opened the poop closet door? Was there no going back at that point? I mean, I very...
How early was that in the game? That was that early?
Yeah.
It was like 4 or 5 sessions in. Maybe.
It was relatively early. Like,
Yeah, it was like the.
We had to be fucking around.
because it was in
before
the
then.
Sunless Citadel. Well, so what I remember about that particular session right around that time was like your character was, I'm going to open every door. I need to see what's behind everything just in case.
Right, yeah.
Like very completionist. And I'm looking at the map going like, well, all right, this could get interesting. She's going to open every door. Because there was that whole, like, remember
There were
like
so many doors.
the giant broodmother rat thing, and there was the
Oh my god.
there was the door that was cursed, and you touched it, and it had like, I don't know, you needed to channel some sort of energy or something into it. There was like a you opened it and there was a specter inside, and that's where you found like that lantern and the that's where you got the ring or whatever that gave you Ronald P. Dusty Bones.
Oh, the crypt. There was a
Yeah,
crypt.
there's a
in
crypt,
that
but the
room.
crypt
Yeah.
door was like somehow like
Right,
trapped, and
yeah,
like you got
yeah.
screwed up from that. And I was like, I don't know how they're gonna fix this because they don't have a cleric. Like in the adventure, you're supposed to have a cleric that channels energy to.
Right. How
Like,
did we
you
fix
did
that?
something else. I don't remember
Excuse
exactly
me,
what
sorry.
it was.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe Grayson did something. 'Cause
Maybe
he had
Grayson did
holy stuff,
something.
but I don't know.
Maybe Ronald
Yeah, maybe Ron.
sucked the poison out of my body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's probably what happened.
He would do it.
I mean, I definitely
If he had
feel
lips.
like the rat closet was kind
You
of.
said earlier it was a mood set.
Yeah, it's like emblematic of like let's just like let's go for it.
Well, shit.
I think
I'm sorry.
I mean-
Am I sorry?
I think it's fun because we can have moments like that where like we have the fun shit rat closet and Ronald.
Well, I mean, it was fun, but
It
it was
was-
also intense because
Yeah.
I literally died twice.
Yeah, no, we can have that, and then we take it seriously for like the combat and stuff, and then we have like a few sessions later after we finished the Sunless Citadel, we had that basically the trial of Amy's parents and
Yes.
stuff like that, and that was
Wow,
like
yeah,
real
I
comedy.
super
forgot
intense.
about
So
that.
we always have a really fun like balance of like joking around as players,
Right.
joking around as our characters, having traditional D&D fun, but then also having fun role play as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Here's
so.
a good one from the Posh Panda. If your character had to inherit a position or job from an NPC, who would it be? like, would you want to have, take over for Xanathar or end up being a high-ranking Harper, or, is there somebody, is there an NPC from the game that you would want to take over, be apprenticed to,
Well,
whatever?
I guess Avril would want to take the position of that leader of the Thieves Guild.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably be her goal. But I don't know. I feel like Strum is happy being strumming it up.
I mean, I think that was kind of Ava's thing in a way. She was an avatar of Barshala, and not that she necessarily wanted to be Barshala, but that she was very like focused in her pursuit. I think if we'd had more time with Ava, maybe there would have been a time in which she kind of turned away from the goddess and was like, no, I'm gonna see what I want in the world a little bit more, which I played with, but just for the amount of time we didn't get into that a whole lot. And at that point I imagine she would have like owned a dress shop. Probably.
Oh my
something
god.
like
all the fabrics are so flowy.
yeah, they would all be like flowy and like just feel cool,
I love
she would
it.
just choose fabrics like
touch
feel.
So
Yeah.
pure. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It was Zarshala. I said her name wrong.
You mean
Lol.
Narshala?
Yeah, that's
She
right.
means Karshala.
Okay.
God.
I don't know if there like my goal was to become
All mermaids. God. Sorry.
was supposed to be to essentially become a ranger or like get in service to a druid.
Yeah.
I liked the two rangers that were in service to Derwith, right?
No, that was
not Derwith. Sorry. What's the name of the gnome that like
Warwent.
Warwent, yeah. He had those two.
Those asshole elven twins.
Yeah, because I was like every time I was like I could do a better job than that. I was like, does this thing come with healthcare, pension? Does it have a what's Warwent offering?
It's funny because like you were sort of offered the chance to become whatever you wanted to at the end when you rewrote the fate of history or the books of prophecy, right? So
yeah, I like
I had that opportunity to, and it was interesting to me that like you all basically sort of passed on it. In terms of, like,
I would have been a bad god anyway.
Yeah, you changed things to what you
the
want.
god of the feast.
Yeah, that's true.
You changed the world to what you wanted it to be, but you didn't change everything you did was rather selfless, right? And I thought that was interesting.
We changed something. We got rid of. Oh, we wanted the ironwood back.
Yeah, we got that.
And we
Brought Derwith back.
we resurrected Derwith.
Oh.
And then Alton gave up Top Boy, which not enough people have credited him for.
It was a very selfless act, and I
Is it, or is it one of those things where I'm like, I'm giving it up so people will compliment me on giving it up?
Yeah.
No, that was definitely why he did it. 100%.
I think Grayson. I don't know if Grayson would be Master Tommen, but I think that's his ultimate goal, is to be a Master Tommen type person where he's just like selflessly living for the order and training the next generation, and like not have he wouldn't want to be a king or a general or anything big. He'd always want to be something small and something subtle, like somebody who's just a cog in the machine.
Or he can move around without always drawing so
Yeah.
much attention or whatever. Yeah, we didn't even talk about Master Tommen's Boy Scout episode. That was my turn to cry for 3 hours from laughing so hard.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I just remember
I wasn't not
at the
prepared.
start of that session you were like, oh, what does he sound like again? And then once you found the voice, you could not get away from it.
And just like
Come here.
the worst.
Let's make a pizza. Because we cremated our friend, and then we made pizza.
And like
He would not want us to.
And then, and that was the best thing that happened to him, to Grayson in that session. Like, everything just kept getting progressively worse to the point where, like, a demon, like, snake crawled down his throat and was trying to control his mind.
Wait, this fire is a manifesto of the light of torment to protect us. But if for some reason it doesn't, we should stop.
Broken.
It's all coming back to me.
Oh my god. There were like 4 parts to that one shot that were supposed to happen. And yeah, no, I don't know. Like we spent a good hour and a half making pizza out of the dead corpse of a paladin of Torm who had
Not
passed
out of
on.
his corpse. He was dead and on fire, and we're using that fire to make pizza.
You want to make a pizza?
Vanna, hold on.
Vanna's not here right
Funniest moment of the campaign. 9:34 tonight.
Oh my god. And why did that happen? It was because of one session? You
I think it was a
You brought up Master Tom?
There was I think there was like a some sort of flashback. Remember there was a while where we had a flashback
Yeah,
mechanic,
that's
right?
what it was.
And so chat unlocked some sort of flashback, and you could do a flashback, and then it would give you advantage on
You could be like,
something
this
that you
is
were
how
doing.
this is how I learned to do this because one time I did,
Right.
and then
What'd you learn?
mine was like I went back to like my training, and it was Master Tom and locked me in a hole for a month, and then demons talked to me, and that's
You
how
just
I
started
learned to-
role playing Master Tom, and
and then
No one asked me to.
yeah, and then demons like tried to talk to me, and that's how I learned like this one demonic word.
Oh,
word
yeah, that's
infernal.
what it
Yeah,
was.
that's right.
And then we all like learned a word. I feel like you taught us each a word or something.
Why would you learn that word in a hole? I think you just went crazy and you like saw it on the walls or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, the nummies. Nummies?
Nummies?
Oh, that's when you said something about your nummies and I lost it.
Yeah, that was.
I forget what you said, but that was so funny.
Monstrosity Jones wants to know what my favorite thing was that
No.
I've added to or changed from the modules.
We talked about it a little bit.
I think I don't know, I personally enjoyed running Keep on the Expedition to the Barrier Peaks just because there was so much kind of like religious and cosmological and theological kind of like issues to grapple with there. I don't know that it made like fun adventuring or role playing, but there were a lot of interesting like DM monkey tinkering parts that went on there.
Yeah, because it's like the idea of like I don't know if it bothered Ava that much, but like Grayson dealing with the fact that his god is a person. In fact, all gods are people, and that they're all just from a different place that's more advanced, and like does that change the way he thinks about his religion? And I think it was like, if we continued the campaign with those characters, that would have probably reflected on both their characters later on, but it was like hard to do that in the midst of it. But it's like, yeah, that would have an effect on you probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean that was all fun. I think, I have 2 answers, and one is sort of like role playing and one is mechanical. And I feel like ear flaps.
He's a fussy little baby.
Yeah, he's like I haven't eaten all the French fries.
Oh,
No. I think Gingy is not in the Sunless Citadel, and the whole arc of Gingy and like how Gingy went from a villain to being this complicated character to being somebody that you pitied, and I feel like if there's one NPC that really had kind of an interesting like flow of development, I think that's the one that comes to mind, and that's the one that wasn't in any of the any of the materials
great.
that
I think it was
presented.
fun because he was introduced in a fun way.
We all had sort of a different relationship with him too.
Yeah, he came back like just enough, not too much, and we never got his full story. So there's all these blanks that we fill in our heads.
Right, and then this weird throwback
Yeah.
where, or I guess flash forward.
Right? Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is, yeah.
At the end where he is a vampire.
And Xanathar's a
series of slugs.
A sad slug baby. Yeah. A few sad slug babies.
And I think of all of the mechanical tinkering that I did, like that chase scene thing was fun. I thought that worked pretty well. But I think Hero's Favor is like kind of like the kind of cherry on the, like I finally got to something that I really liked.
That was the one that we used the most, because that's the.
I liked when Hero's Favor failed.
I like when it fails, but that's the thing that I think in D&D you always want to do that. You're like, oh, can I do this? And you're like, that's not in the rule. There's no way that could be in the rules. You can't do that. So Hero's Favor gives us that opportunity to do. I'm going to do this thing that we all wish we could do in this system, but they do not allow for.
Right. Yeah. I always find it interesting that people are like, oh, I want to try that D&D thing. What's it all about again? And you say, oh, it's a world of limitless imagination where anything can happen. And then you sit down at the table and they go, okay, so I want a flaming sword. Oh, no, it doesn't work that way. I thought you said it was a world of imagination where anything can happen.
No, my imagination.
Well, yeah, but in the rules,
yours.
you can't have a flaming sword. Like, that's not something you get at level 1.
Yeah. I mean, level 3, you can have Searing Smite as a paladin.
That spell sucks.
Yeah.
All right.
Shade on Searing Smite. Wow.
Shade.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
really curious to see what that GIF is. Someone please. Type
Here's a question for the table. Monstrosity Jones asks, what was your favorite of Tom's NPC voices?
Black Razor?
No.
Well, I don't think Kyle knows who, but...
No.
Hey, I gotta tell
My name is Jesse Ventura, and I'm a sentient sword.
you. We're not gonna do any, like, straight up evil stuff, but it might be kind of borderline. I mean, you're down with that, right?
You're not part of the Illuminati, are you? As a governor of Minnesota.
I like all of Tom's attempts to do Lowstorm.
Yeah.
Those were great.
Lowstorm's voice. Never
get it right.
Never got it.
I thought the characters that were speaking some form of like German.
Yeah.
The
The thing I hate about those guys is that I was in Amsterdam and my host in
You
Amsterdam
told this story on stream
I know.
before. You just want to talk about how you stayed in Amsterdam.
You're so cool.
You're so cool. Have you heard about the croissants that Eric ate in France?
Oh my
He
god.
ate a croissant?
I've been to Paris twice.
Wow.
Lay down.
American croissants are shit.
I'm sure.
You can go to a fancy hotel and still get a shit croissant here
Yeah.
in
The only good ones are the
They
ones
don't.
from Trader Joe's that you have to puff up overnight and cook in the morning.
Those are good.
Yeah, those are really good.
You are a croissant elitist.
I am.
Oh my god. Yowza. I like the ones that are filled with meat.
Well, then
And
it's not
cheese.
a croissant.
What is it?
No.
Croissant pocket.
An empanada?
Did someone say croissant? I've never cried. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, both the Xanathar voices were good too.
Yeah.
Normal Xanathar and Slug Baby Xanathar were good.
Any of those weird Swedish gnome voices.
Those were good.
It's like I think within our campaign, Fine Fish was like
That was classic.
was phenomenal. Though the one shot with Havana where you were that was your character.
That was
it wasn't an NPC, but like I was like losing my shit. I was like I'm trying to remember as much Colin Firth trivia
You did
about
great.
that movie
Yeah,
as
you
I
did
could,
great.
and I'm just sitting there just like I want to listen to him do this
And he kept fucking
dumb
pulling out
accent.
hats. I was like, and just when I thought he doesn't have a hat for that.
Yeah.
What made you cry, Siamath? Siamath is talking about the moment where Amy and Gaurav go into the dark and make a deal with that vampire. And then the conversation we had afterwards, I guess I kind of remember this. I'm trying to talk to, oh my god, Amy's character's name.
Tack.
Tak. I was trying to talk to Tak about why she would do that. And she was trying to reason it with me, and I was, and Avril was just saying, like, well, that's what we're here for, you know, for you to work that stuff out with us, and now we don't know what's going to happen to you. We don't know what you owe, and yeah, I guess I cried.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
sorry I made you cry, CMF.
That led down some fun bits because like Amy's character was always kind of like on the edge of darkness, so it made sense why she would do it. And then like Thawne taking that turn was like, now Grayson has a real big problem with Thawne, and it started this thing, and like, and then he got Black Razor, and then that added to more like I remember it like culminated into like Thawne was gonna kill a guy, and then I used my ability to
Thawne was gonna feed a dude's soul to the sword.
Yeah, and I used my paladin protection ability to block an attack or give it disadvantage against Thawne because I was like, you can't do this.
It got fucked up. Yeah, that's why we got a divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a real like the campaign definitely like towards that point of the arc on the backside of that arc got real gnarly and twisty between all the
I liked
PCs.
it. I loved it.
I want some more of it.
Ooh, yes, that as well.
The Posh Panda has a question for, Alden, Eric, or anyone. Who do you wish you could have dueled but didn't get the chance? We sort of talked about this, but
I mean, yeah, we never do.
Just both of you with ladles.
Yeah.
I would have exclusively gone for the butt because I knew that was
a fighter versus a class that should just be a fighter with a bow.
What is that clip, Tom?
It's one from Bastion.
Suave lazy
One where
opossum dance.
Tom broke down. I think it's the Woe Titty one.
Oh, it's a low titty. Low titty.
I can't think of anyone like I desperately wanted to go one on because we got our Karen Sark, which was fantastic.
That was such a fun one.
That was so fun. And
just absolutely whipped him. Also the Minotaur.
Yeah, the Minotaur was fantastic. And then like the other guy,
Garen Vance.
Garen Vance, One-Eyed Jack.
Right.
Yeah. But I was like, he's on my list, but also like I watch him and I'm like, he doesn't look like he'd be much of a challenge, or
right.
like, yeah. So it's like didn't seem like a need to do it. I don't know. I think we hit that as much as we needed to for the length of the campaign.
It was a good through line, I think.
I think I because it was always like, especially with that Creighton Sark one of like putting up the title of top boy was like that's such a hard choice. But yeah, I mean obviously.
But then you won the plane, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the amazing part.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I like each time you dueled, it had like a really phenomenal outcome, and it was always very exciting during it. I'm sure there it could have been something where you carried it up through to like other characters.
Yeah, I mean,
but like it felt just the perfect amount of like what we had.
Because I don't know if I explained this on stream before, but I always thought of the title of top boy is like at the military academy. Like is one you win by dueling being the best at dueling, and you only hold on to it for so long. But that's why he's still so proud of it, is because no one's beaten him yet. You know?
And he killed a kid.
Yeah, over a top boy duel.
Yeah.
You never dueled the captain of the ship though.
Yeah, that's true. But he's a magic guy. Although I did take Mage Slayer after fighting Lurg, and that never really came into.
Right. Yeah. It came up at some point because you were like,
when we
is
were
he
fighting
casting a spell?
Yeah, when we were fighting Gothius, I was like, is he casting a spell? Cool, I'm gonna hit him twice more with my.
Yeah, that was an epic turn.
Was that the vampire?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was like, that sounds familiar, but also at the same time very, very groggy.
What is It's All Blowjobs? What is that clip? Apparently you break really hard.
Talking about how Avril and
Thawne. How their marriage works
How
out, what their sex life is
human.
like.
Oh, how they fit. Okay, yeah, size-wise, yeah. No, I stand by that. That's the only thing that makes sense.
That's why they adopted Ava.
Because we can't conceive. It's just too tall.
I'll just get a full-grown baby.
What was your line during that? Makes you think, don't it?
And they kept like you and Ava kept going. You know, makes you think, doesn't it? It's like, stop it.
That was a good one. Yeah. Good bit.
I thought that was a fun episode where it was like your honeymoon in Waterdeep, and then you have to go to that library and pull off that
heist. That was great.
Went so terrible.
So we did a bad job.
Oh my god. It was like, okay, go case the joint, don't get in any trouble. And the next thing you know, it was like 10 minutes later, like, it's on fire! We're inside the vault!
Have you played D&D before?
Oh god.
Right. Yeah.
It's not Ocean's 11. It's...
Well, you know, BSB Care wants to know, Grayson, Strum, Ava, or Badger, who wins in a free-for-all 4-way death match?
Specifically Grayson?
That's what
Grayson
it
loses.
says.
I would not be able to take out my friends. I don't know.
I think we're thinking like if our brains were like fried, right? And more
Just
just like
our
straight
powers.
stats.
Yeah.
Mind-controlled, forced
I
to
hit-
kill.
I feel like Ava would win.
Yeah.
She's literally an avatar of a goddess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
And-
would. Well, she had that one thing too.
Strong as hollow bones.
It was I forget what it's called, but where she, I thought of it as being way more powerful than it really was in D&D. I forget what it was called, but where she just kind of, it's the particular type of Aasimar that I was that has the, I forget what it is.
Is it the rage one?
Yeah, the one where if certain things happen, they can rage and just like shoot out
Like radiant energy or
yes,
something
radiant
like that?
energy, which I don't think was ever as powerful as I imagined. But I imagine like this avatar of a goddess just being like, "Ah," you know, and just like killing everything in
Right.
the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think, I imagine if you like turn on the evil side of her, mean side of her, then she could just like kill everyone
Totally.
with water.
Kind of like 11 almost, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Grayson, I mean, if we're talking just Grayson's like stats and not his personality, I think like even towards the end with all his bells and whistles, didn't do a tremendous amount of damage until I got like a laser weapon.
Oh yeah, you had a lightsaber.
Yeah, once I got the lightsaber, that's when I really started to like take the damage up. But like Grayson could soak a hit so well.
Oh, yeah.
He
Yeah,
was heavily
yeah.
armored. I took 3 less damage from everything I took, and then I could heal myself back.
But all Ava would have to do is throw you on a tank.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Is there a frog in there?
Is there a fountain nearby?
just
Because I drown him in it.
Just a pure water
Yeah.
and you drown.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, and
Too
I could
heavy.
do that. I could put you in like a wall of water.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I just
Oh, I drown. Yeah.
Whoops.
Because I can't move. You don't think Badger would stand a chance?
No, I think like if just straight stat wise, he was able to output like a good amount of damage.
Yeah.
he's pretty strong.
Because I got with my
Hunter's Mark was...
with Hunter's Mark, the hunter the Ranger Hunter thing where I get to add a D8 like once per turn. Plus I had 3 attacks. It was like I remember at the end when we were calculating the damage, sometimes I'd be like, oh, wait, how much did I do? Like, it would be
Brutal,
Excuse me?
like 35, 40 points.
yeah, exactly.
I'm
I was
sorry,
like,
just
oh, wow.
subtract 10. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Strum was every single one of her spells was purely RP based, so she just is really battle worthless for the most part.
Those are all of the questions that we
I have a couple of questions.
Dom has a couple. He's gonna float over the wall here. Fire him off, Dom.
Griffin of Falcon Hollow, and they can hear me because I'm mic'd right now.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh, don't do a cuss.
What?
Watch your fucking mouth.
Watch your fucking mouth.
Hey,
Hey.
Tom.
Hey. What's the matter, you?
Griffin of Falcon Hollow asks,
Oh.
Tom, what's next?
What's next? I'm not sure what's next, to be honest. A big part of this is I'm just sort of like worn out, from on the DMing side of things. So I need to take a break from that, which is fine and understandable. And I think, I have to say, like, not necessarily, like, we're doing a show, right? So that's something that you have to reckon with, is like, we're doing a show. So we're going to do a show for 3 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever it is, and that's what you plan on. But I feel like in, kind of D&D, there's this lionization of, the ideal game is this campaign that you run for, 3 years, and you play your character from level 1
My friends and
to
I have
level
been playing
20.
since 6th grade. We
Yeah.
meet once a month. And,
as I get deeper into my gaming career and realize like all of the other different like things that I have to juggle with schedules and social obligations, it's like, is that realistic to expect like that's the best version of the game? Like maybe the best version of the game is you get together and play an adventure for 3 sessions and it's over, or you play a one shot of this thing and try the rules and see if you have fun, and if you don't, you didn't, fine, you walked away from it. So I really kind of like, I come out of that old school grognard tradition of like, me and my buddies have been playing for 10 years. But I don't know that it's a healthy thing to like put on a pedestal as like, this is the best way to game. Like play as much as you need to play and not get overcommitted to it. I remember, at one point 2 or 3 years ago, like if the weeks lined up right, I was playing or running 4 D&D games, a week in a given week. And I was like, it's just, I realized like it's too much. So that's part of it is a little bit of burnout, but also a big part of it is I look at my day job acting career and go, I need to dedicate more time and more resources to push that forward, right? Like I'm happy with my commercial career and where things are. If you see me on your TV
American Horror Story.
Or whatever.
If you want to tase Emma Roberts more, you gotta put in the work.
Tase. From I thought you said taste.
You sound like you said taste.
That did not.
I heard taste.
Yeah.
Tase.
Tase. So that's part of it is like the kind of the tough part about Hollywood is that nobody asks you like what you just did.
Oh my God.
Everybody says like, what do you have doing next? What are you doing? What do you got coming up?
Nothing.
Eric just broke the chair.
No.
There's a nail right here.
There's not. There's a screw.
True.
Okay.
So I need to spend some more time. I need to get back into an acting class just so I can move my resume forward and get some things lined up on that side of my life in front of cameras.
Thank you, Tom.
But I'm not, I'm definitely not done with saving throw, and I want to come back and play and run a few one shots or run some shorter things that are a little more compressed.
Yeah.
All right, we only have a few more minutes, but a couple more questions have come in. BSB Care asks, Tom, what was your favorite character to play?
You mean like NPC or of the characters that I played and whatnot?
Yeah.
What's my favorite NPC?
Or characters? Was it when you played me playing Avro?
I mean, that was fun.
Was that not you? Was that?
Oh my God. Do you think my hair is that bad? Jesus. And my sleeve's that bad?
I spent up to $11 on that wig.
Oh, you told me exactly how much you spent.
Sometimes your tattoo sleeve just sloughs off, right?
God, I hope not. That would be really scary.
Yeah, I kind of think I have to go back to Meepo, right? Like that. I have to give credit to Jordan Pridgeon for like coming up with the whole idea of, when they speak Draconic, it's so much more elevated and whatnot. But like then discovering that duality was, that was super fun. So, yeah, any of those characters that have kind of like a weird, goofy perspective, those are always fun for me to play. I like playing those serious, emotional, like, ultimately truthful moments of like someone like Tack's parents or like, any of that stuff is happening. Yeah. Like those earnest, like you've hurt me and I need to tell you like what happened. Those are rewarding to play and they can make for really great, scenes. But those moments, like, it has to be part of, it has to be the right moment for that. Or in terms of, like, what's always fun. Yeah, I mean, it's always the kind of the goofy character concepts that I kind of latch onto a little bit.
Yeah, when you did Xanathar's eyes, that was a good.
I am really proud. I'm glad it's a gift
really
because
fun.
it was.
You did that for so long. My arms
just,
would have been so tired.
Yeah, it was just one of those moments of like, oh, do we have like, I don't know if I saw the googly eyes or how.
I grabbed them because we had them for Halloween, and I was like,
oh my
we
God,
have
you're
eyes
right.
in the studio.
Right. Yeah.
I should get those. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Megan to thank.
So yes, that was. I mean, it was
Xanathar.
such a great like convergence of.
Well,
You had a whole box of Halloween stuff.
Yeah, we had all this Halloween stuff, and we had all these googly eyes that I was like, what are we going to do with these eyes?
they're giant.
Give them to
Right? I was like,
I
oh my
think
God.
You do a really interesting job of like you don't have the one weird character. You have so many different
Right,
like
they're so diverse.
So diverse like because the one I thought of was when we were in the Ironkeep in that first I guess campaign just like the guy who was running like all those rooms was just like a gnome stuck in this weird machine, just like pulling, turning. Yeah, no, that was some other just random.
Wasn't Warwick?
No, it was some random like guy who was like stuck in this weird machine that he'd been in for like 40 years, and he was just like twirling this and pulling this lever, and like he was just that, and it was like trying to have a conversation with this guy, and he's like, "Yep, how's it going? Yeah, I'm the guy who runs all this. If I stop, everything explodes."
And then the flip side is you go 2 rooms in, and it's like the ghost of the kid like who like owned the amusement park, right? Yeah.
But then there was
And
a
the
water
desk lady.
flume ride, so we forgot all of that.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
I am proud of the reimagining of White Plume Mountain as a theme park because it really fits much more as a dungeon theme park than it does as a dungeon that makes sense. Next question.
Okay, this is the last question
Last
of the
one.
night.
Last one.
Bondo says, Eric, what did you have for dinner?
Did you
What?
have dinner?
Are you going
I
to
did.
shame him?
Did steak and mac and cheese.
Whoa. Did you go to Royal Corral? Is that what that restaurant's called?
Golden Corral?
Yep, there we go. Did you go Corral?
No, my mom makes me dinner.
No. That's nice.
Steak and mac and cheese. Nice.
No croissants.
No.
Eric's
no,
probably
you can't cook good croissants in this.
Do you want Eric to murder his mom? Is that what you're asking?
Wow. I
It gets
mean,
rough.
I paid him to. I don't know why he hasn't done it.
Yeah, the check.
So I will ask one last question
Clear.
for each of you. If you could start your own D&D game or non-D&D game, but if you were like, all right, you're going to be the GM for a season of something, what do you think you would do?
Mamma Mia too.
Oh, would you do a whole season of Mamma Mia too?
I'd play in that game.
I would insist. You'd be like, I don't have time, and I'd be like, fuck you. I'll kill your whole family.
She would too.
I have and I will.
I want to revisit Mysterium, honestly.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned, but probably play it. Probably using Savage Worlds. I did do that at a convention.
I got to play in that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I really liked how it worked. I realized I like period settings in general because I like playing with the historic aspect of it, and like I like history, so that's kind of fun. But I have so many. The things that always inspire me are fandoms that I enjoy. Like I would love to do something with Lock and Key. If any of you have read it, I just think that would be so amazing, but I'd have to buy all the keys and they're really expensive. So, that, because they actually make them. They're $20 or $35 each and they're amazing. Amazing, but expensive. But yeah, I've had so many other ideas. Like I'll see a board game like Mysterium and be like, oh, that would be such a cool world, or that would be such a cool world. That's usually what pops up. More than a system, it's usually a setting that I could like tell a cool story in that gets me.
I love that.
Mine would probably be I like this year for me. I got something out of the way that I wanted to do for a long time, which was like essentially a Spelljammers game.
Okay.
And right now I have the I think it was either Sasquatch or Green Ronin. I think it was Sasquatch that did Thule.
Oh yeah,
The Land of
Primeval
Thule.
Thule.
And then also like it pretty much like I've wanted to do kind of like a Conan kind of primeval setting game for like a while, and I would love to do one like that. And you know, like as of like a few months ago, Marvel has been releasing their new run of Conan, and I've been reading it and just like getting so freaking into it, and I just want to do a freaking Conan adventure.
Now I want to do a Xena game.
Right? Yeah.
I would like to do Xena universe.
That would be cool.
That would be
Okay, writing your
amazing.
name down in my Xena book.
I love
Please bring me that.
Oh my God.
Would you include Hercules at all or not?
I was gonna say Kyle's Hercules.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
The way
Young
he played
Hercules.
Colin first.
I'll come with the
would make an
curtains.
excellent.
The blonde curtains.
Just have to be really disappointed
Eric,
in a lot of
what would
things.
you?
I mean, I've been promising Dom for a while now. I'd come up with a pitch for a Delta Green show.
Oh, that would be
Which
so cool.
Eric is a great Delta. That's how I met Eric. Was he GM'd me in a Delta Green game? He did a great job. It was so spoopy.
Thank you. I felt good about that because I'd never written like a session before. I'd always ever used pre-written stuff.
It was so good. I thought it was pre-written for sure.
Well, it was entirely ripped off from a movie, so it was pretty.
I didn't know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's because I think like you were saying, it's not about like the rules because like I know the rules and I definitely need refreshers, but it's not the rules of Delta Green. It's the world of Delta Green that has always drawn me into it and made me want to run that. So that's definitely like when I see it, like just how I could do that and like the stuff you can do in that world.
Please also run a game of Dental Green.
Dental
'cause
Green.
Taste.
Oh boy,
The Thing could be a character on that one too.
If you run a Delta Green game, I will come back and understand you mean like FBI agent, not like detective agency.
But you may have walked in as like a Dick Tracy detective, but you committed so hard to it. You were the only ones that survived, and you clearly had the most fun.
I did. I won the game. You can win tabletop games, did you know?
Yeah.
nice.
Well, not according to the creator of Delta Green, who told me that I did it wrong.
Oh,
Because I didn't die.
Dennis
Yeah.
Detweiler?
Yeah.
You said that at Gen Con?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. I also think I would like to run like some sort of cyberpunk type of game, and
Just don't invite man.
Just don't invite me anywhere. I'm just a buzzkill.
yeah, yeah. There's a system called Tears and Kisses in the Rain, which is like not like
That sounds
I'm
wonderful.
already
I'm so
like
intrigued.
hot for this. Ready.
well. So Colin, I can't remember Colin's last name, but he wrote this hack of it. He wrote this game, and his whole take on it is like everybody approaches cyberpunk stuff wrong because they always approach it from sort of like a cool guns, like mirror shades, tactical.
Yeah.
We're gonna bust into the 8,000 foot tall tower and hack the system. Da 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 da.
Slice.
It's a very kind of like military kind of simulator type of game, right? And he's like, that's not what cyberpunk is about. It's about punk. It's about like the man is oppressing you and your cyberware doesn't fucking work right and you need to like get
It's
out
rent.
you need to get out of the city, right?
Yeah.
And it's very much like it's very like kind of like trailer trash cyberpunk where shit is dire and serious and the only thing you can do is try and get away. And it's really good. Yeah, Colin Jessup, that's right. So, so I would certainly be interested in running that. I played in a game of his at Big Bad Con 2 or 3 years ago, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Can I give a serious answer? I feel like I gave a couple jokey ones. I would like to GM D&D. I actually haven't done it because I've just done hacks for all the games we've played.
It's true.
So.
It's true.
I've just done a bunch of different weird
I would
hacks.
love to play the game with you.
Yeah?
Yes.
I mean, Puckminer is very, very close to.
It's
5e.
super close to 5e, but it is not.
Yeah,
5e.
it is not.
Yeah, so I've skirted around with a bunch of hacks that are pretty rules light. So the heaviest thing I've done is Pugmire.
Right.
But I haven't actually DM'd like a straight up D&D game, so I would love to do that at some
Well,
point.
Wednesday nights is open.
I would play any of those games. That all sounds great. So, hey, that is our fireside chat. Thank you so much to everybody who submitted a question and gave comments in the channel. And
I have something to say.
Mr. Dom Zook has something
your mic on?
on the God mic. That
My mic is on.
Share with
Oh,
us. Yes.
thank you, B.
Hey, Beetlejuice, I hope you got your map and whatnot. I sent along a few other extra trinkets. You should have gotten that yesterday. It was supposed to come on Monday, but you should have gotten it yesterday for sure. If you didn't get it by today, please let me know. Hopefully you got your stuff.
Your stuff.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to Tom and all of you in the cast, including Gaurav and Christina and Amy, who I can't listen to myself and talk at the same time. That's really weird.
Horrible streamer.
Yeah, I know. But no, I've just been watching the clips that people have been posting in chat, and we have come such a long way from when we started Ironkeep way back in the closet. And as a continuation sort of Barky's, honestly, and our Wednesday night D&D stream, and it's going to be weird to not have D&D on Wednesday nights regularly for a long time, but it's been an absolute pleasure to have Ironkeep here and to have Tom running it, and yeah, it's meant a lot to me, and it's been part of my one of my joys here of running stuff on this channel. And I'm gonna cry if I keep talking about it.
I know you're gonna make me cry, Tom. Fuck.
But no, I really have.
I can't even see you.
I've really enjoyed every moment with the Ironkeep crew, and with chat coming along on this ride with us for 2 years, really. Like I said, from that closet to now, and I was telling people, you know, in the Whoa Titty clip, where Gaurav is sitting in that clip is where Tom is now, and it's just such a turnaround from there, and we've just grown, and Ironkeep's been sort of the measuring stick that we've used for so many other shows and stuff, and it's been such a tentpole for such a long time. It will be weird to not have it, but yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, all of you, for all the time and fun and joy that you've put into this game, and really looking forward to what's coming up next with everyone.
Just to piggyback on that, I literally have been playing this Wednesday night game before I had a place to live in Los Angeles. Like, this is my home before I literally had a physical home. So thank you, Dom, for giving me a chance to be here, to meet all these amazing people, and just to get to know all of you. It's been so great, and I've learned so much from Tom to start my own GMing journey, and he's such a huge inspiration and such a good friend, and I'm just really grateful. So fuck you, Dom. But yeah,
I've had a really great time. Thank you for all, just kind of having me be a part of the family.
I could take it or leave it.
you're such an asshole.
You know, I think I always talk about what's the goal with playing. Why do we play tabletop RPGs? And sometimes it's just to sit around and roll some dice, and sometimes it's to put on our goofy voices, and sometimes it's just to bullshit with our friends. And I think, you know, ultimately for me it always comes down to every night you're trying to make some sort of special memory that you're going to look back and go, oh, remember that time when? And if there's one thing that tonight has proven, it's that we just have such a plethora of those things that we can all share, whether you're on that side of the camera or on this side of the camera. And that's really kind of like the power of this hobby that we indulge in, and also the power of the community that Dom has worked so hard to foster here, and that you're all, I hope you feel, vibrantly a part of. So it has been my privilege to impose my goofy, crazy hacks and wild ideas and dumb voices upon you. I assure you I am not done with Saving Throw, and I hope Saving Throw is not done with me. But thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for watching. And until next time, let's dungeon!
Now hear you rascals with your bellies full of pie, and listen to this tale of woe where the heroes won't be high. He's a master of concealment and an adept at disguise. With heroes is when he's thinking faster, that's when fun will lie. He's slain many a villain, be a dragon, buff or wizard. He's looted chests of all the best of treasures he could find. He's the undefeated champion of adventure, war